1964, Ferrari replaced its 250 Lusso touring sports car with what a lot of Ferrari fans consider to be the real last hand-built diva, while some even consider it the most accomplished design done by Pininfarina, the 1964 Ferrari 275 GTB. The 275 Berlinetta, for coupe, used a short tubular wheelbase chassis of 2400mm or 94.5-inch like every renowned Ferrari GT racer and was assembled except for the aluminum doors, trunk and hood lid with steel panels or the optional lightweight aluminum body. The end result was an handmade beauty created by Sergio Scaglietti, located down the street from Ferrari. The overall design cues were taken from the GTO for the back end and the 250 California Spider for the front end, with perfectly proportioned cover headlights ending at the edge of the 275 GTB's nose. A full egg crate grille fitted perfectly within the headlights, the nose and the two chrome front split bumper layout. Like the 250 LM, the 275 windshield was very rakish, but unlike the LM, the 275 GTB had more air vent gills on its front side fenders with a total of 4 slats to keep the engine bay cool, while a 3-slatted air vent was located on the rear buttress to keep the occupants al fresco. This abundance of gills gave the 275 a menacing shark-like appearance without losing its elegance or without falling into a childish design. The rear had a fastback treatment like a short wheelbase or a GTO, with also the same generously bulged rear fender lines. A single round tail light on each side as seen on the Lusso, surrounded by the enveloping and increasingly bigger rear spoiler on a camtail, created needed rear downforce at high speed, while the usual 4 exhaust pipes poked out from under a thin wraparound chrome bumper. The Campagnolo Sunburst alloy wheel set with the center knockoff spinner were a new and welcome modern addition, but the 72 spokes chrome Borani wire wheels were still available as an option. These brakes were fitted on all corners, but unlike the last drum brakes generation, this early disc faded quite quickly, keeping many drivers on their toes. The real revolution though came with the adoption of an all-independent suspension. This was a first for a road car Ferrari, with double wishbones, coil springs and tube shocks giving a better ride on bumpy roads. The V12 single camper bank engine was the Colombo unit, now enlarged to 3.3 liter or 200 cubic inch. This validated the 275 nomenclature of 275 cubic inch per cylinder, making this block a 3.3 liter capacity unit as mentioned. This V12 was available with the standard 3 or the optional 6 twin-shock Weber carburetors, also known as the 275 GTB 6C, giving the 6 carburetor cars a little hood bulge necessary to clear the longer airbox filter. The single camper bank 3.3-liter V12 developed 280 horsepower at 7,600 RPM and close to 300 horsepower with the optional 6 carburetor package. Unlike the 250 Lusso and like the GTO, the 275 GTB had for the first time on a road Ferrari a dogleg, first bottom left, transaxle 5-speed gearbox. This rear transmission gave the 275 better weight distribution, while the extra ratio was needed for the 60s fast and empty highways. The sprint to 62 miles per hour from a standstill was done in 6.5 seconds, and the top speed of 150 miles per hour or 241 km per hour could be attained if you had a death wish. The 275 GTB's main problem was to produce front airlift at high speed, forcing Ferrari to redesign the nose as soon as 1965. This newly shaped nose is now referred to as the long nose as opposed to the short nose only produced the first year. The hood line was now extended down, distancing the headlights from the now smaller oval mouth grille fitted without a prancing horse logo. This made the front end not as harmonious and almost catfish-like compared to the original Pininfarina lines, but it helped plant the front axle on the ground at high speed, which is always a good thing. The alloy wheels also changed. Now wider, they increased the grip level, but without the sunburst pattern, the new units looked more bland. As well as the front, the rear had minor changes done with a bigger window, and 2 big outside chrome hinges now operated the trunk and complemented the large rear chrome Ferrari trunk logo. Inside, some changes also occurred with the dashboard teak veneer being replaced by a sportier black veneer treatment, but the wooden Nardi steering wheel remained. But the biggest change inside the 275 long nose was the adoption of an oval binnacle for the two main large Veglia rev counter and speedometer, which were now tilted toward the driver in a cross-eyed fashion. As tradition demands it, the exposed metal gate on the transmission tunnel looked fantastic, and the deep bucket seats were very supportive. In 1966, the 275 GTB's second revolution came with the first double-cam per-bank Ferrari V12. This 4-cam setup gave our 275 Berlinetta the new nomenclature of 275 GTB4. Now, all 275 models were fitted with the 6 twin-shock Weber carburetors. This 4-cam engine had the GTO's firepower of 300 horsepower at a high 8,000 RPM and received a bulge hood, making room for a new pair of cams and air filter box. A dry sump oil system kept the center of gravity low, and finally a torque tube was used to cancel vibration occurring previously from the dry shaft not being properly aligned. The revised interim dry shaft was a welcomed improvement, as well as the limited rear split differential. With those extra cams, the 275 GTB4 could reach 62 miles per hour in 6.2 seconds, while the top speed was 165 miles per hour or 265 km per hour. Two special and rare 275 GTBs emerged from the original production cars. The first with the 275 GTB-C, C for competition, produced at 22 units over the course of the 275 production life. 10 units were done on the short noses and 12 on the long noses. These rare 275 GTB-C cars were coach-built with thinner aluminum panels than the one found on the 16 street lightweight 275 GTB4 cars. Almost all of the 275 GTB-C model were equipped with the optional Monza quick filler gas cap fitted on the rear right buttress or rear fender, depending on the nose configuration. Also seen on the competition models was sometimes a rear side fender air vent with 3 slats that matched the front air slat vents found on the front fenders. The 275 GTB-C was so light, balanced and powerful with the 4-cam version that it was dubbed the Postman Gto, which is quite a compliment. The second batch of 10 special 275 GTS4 North Spiders for North American Racing Team were ordered from 1967 to 1968 by the American importer Luigi Chinetti, who managed to convince Enzo Ferrari to produce 10 Spiders for the North American market. Not to be confused with the normal 275 GTS convertible, which had a completely different body style, all 275 GTS4 North Spiders were a chopped version of the coupe adorning a soft top, a flat rear trunk lid, and are very sought after today. Production of the 275 GTB4 ended in 1968, after 795 Berlinettas of all specifications were made. This ended a beautiful and glorious era of raw technicality and powerful elegance on wheels, which also helped Ferrari's image.